Hi guys, this is Kata and I'm finally here with my January wrap-up, and I know it's a bit late, but today is the first time that I can actually film, so let's get on with it. In January I have read a total of 9 books, which is quite good, but my only complaint is that I didn't read too many amazing books. I mean, some of these were pretty bad, but I will tell you all about it. The first book that I have read in January is The Lost Girl by Sengu Mandana, and I don't really know what genre it is because it's kind of dystopian and kind of sci-fi, but not really. But anyways, the main character is Eva, and she's an echo, and an echo is a replica of another person, and in this world you can decide that you want an echo to be made of one of your loved ones, because if something happens to your loved one, or basically that person dies, then this echo come take her or his place, which is pretty creepy and weird, and it's such a unique idea, and it's such a unique word, and all the characters are great in it. And I just loved how, it had a unique voice, and this story was very unique, and it takes place in, I think, England and then in India, and just the setting itself is quite unique. So I really enjoyed this book, but something was kind of missing in the story, and I can't really put my finger on what was missing, but I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I really recommend this book to all of you. The second book I have read was Bertie by Sylvia Day, and this book gets compared to 50 Shades of Grey quite a lot, and this book is supposed to be a better version of 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, but I don't know, I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey. I started it when it was a fanfiction, when it was Master of the Universe, I think, and I enjoyed it when I was reading it. With this book, I don't know, I just couldn't really get into it, and I didn't really care for the characters, especially our main female character. She just annoyed me, and that happens a lot in books, so it's not that surprising, but still. And my main issue with this book is that I can't remember anything about it, and my memory sucks anyway, so that's not surprising either. But when I was trying to think about this book and what I will talk about in this wrap-up, I couldn't really come up with one scene in this book, so it wasn't really memorable for me, but I know a lot of people love this, and I have the second book in this series, so I'm going to continue with it, I think. Oh yeah, and I give this book 3 stars. The next 2 books I have read was part of a trilogy, and the first book is Wither, and the second book is Fever by Lauren De Stefano. I think a lot of you know about these books, but basically this is a dystopian trilogy in which the females will live until they are 20 years old, and the males will live until they are 25 years old because of some virus or something like that. I can't really remember, but our main character gets sold or chosen as a bride to this guy, and it's kind of similar to the selection, but why the selection is, more of a utopian world maybe, but it has got more of a happy feel. This is quite depressing, and I'm going to talk about the first book first. Yeah, because this one I really enjoyed. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a very quick read, it was fast-paced and it was intriguing, and I loved some of the characters. I didn't quite like the other half of the characters, but that's alright because they were supposed to be unlikable. So yeah, while I liked the first book, the second book, which is Fever, was such a bad sequel in my opinion. It was just way too boring. I mean, the only good stuff happens in the last 30 pages maybe, and up until that point is just boring and nothing happens, and I mean, I struggled with this book a lot. It took me a lot to read it, but the way it ended, I really need to read the third book, and I'm hoping that it's going to be better than Fever. And I gave Fever 3 stars as well. And then I have read Lipstick Apology by Jennifer Jabali. And this book was such a disappointment, and you can see why I said that January was not a very good reading month for me in this aspect, because this book, I had such high expectations, because when I read the back of it, I felt like this would be a book that I love, and it sounded just perfect for me. But in reality, when I read it, it read kind of childish to me, so maybe it would be a better book for like someone in her early teenage years, so like 13 or something, because while the idea was very intriguing for me in a contemporary book, the way it was executed, it was not something for me, and I couldn't really care about any of the characters except one. And yeah, the basic story is that this girl loses her parents in a plane crash, and her mother leaves her a mysterious message on a tray or something. So she tries to figure out what that message was about, and she also moves to New York to her aunt, and so she needs to start in a new school and meet all these new people. And then she meets this guy, the popular guy, but she also meets this other guy in her chemistry class, and I don't know, I just love those kind of things, and I just hope that it would be a great book, but I gave it 3 stars as well. And then I have read The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Steven Chbosky, and I have made a video review about this. I'm going to link that in the description box below, so I'm not going to talk about this book a lot in this. But I will just say that I wasn't really a fan of this book. I know it's quite shocking, but yeah, I just didn't really care for it, and it didn't make me feel anything. So I gave this one 3 stars too. After that, I picked up The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, or Stiefvater, I don't know. But this was such a weird book. I mean, I can't even explain or just make a quick summary of this book, because I don't really know what this was about, but I quite enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, but it was very weird, and but very intriguing as well, and I got through it quite quickly, and I just loved all the characters in it, and it was just something else, and it was different, and I like that. And the sequel to this book, The Dream Thieves, just arrived in the mail the other day, so I can't wait to read the sequel as well, because there was something about it that made me like it a lot. The next book I have read, I don't have in a physical copy, but it is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the sequel to Shadow and Bone. And I loved this book, and as I have mentioned before, Shadow and Bone was one of my favorite books in 2013, and the sequel did not disappoint at all. Even though the book started out a bit slow, but that might be only because I didn't really have time to read, so I only read little sequences of the story, so like 10 pages. But after like the first, I don't know, 50 pages, it picked up the pace a lot, and it was just so good. And I'm not going to spoil any of you, but let me just tell you that there's a new character in this book who I adore. I absolutely adore, and this new character is my favorite character in the series right now, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this person is going to be a lot in the third book as well. And I gave Siege and Storm 5 stars, of course. And the last book I read in January was Speechless by Hannah Harrington. And Hannah Harrington wrote Saving June, which is one of my favorite contemporary books ever, and Speechless was really good as well. It wasn't as good, as amazing as Saving June, but it was still very good, and I would recommend it to all of you. This is a contemporary book about this girl called Chelsea, and Chelsea is quite unlikable at first, because she's this popular girl who gossips all the time and who can't keep her mouth shut, and she doesn't really realize how she hurts other people with the things that she says. but one time she tells a secret or gossips about something that would that will eventually cause a lot of trouble, and somebody will get seriously hurt. So after that she realizes that she needs to stop doing these things, so she takes a vow of silence. So in this book, or at least 80% of these books, she doesn't talk to anybody, at least verbally, but it was really great, and the secondary characters were great, and I would really recommend this book to all of you. It's a very short book, so it didn't take a lot of time to read, but it was quite memorable. So those were all the 9 books I have read in January, and thankfully the month ended in a better way than it started, and I'm hoping that February will be amazing as well. I'm currently rereading the Shatter Me trilogy because I cannot wait for Ignite Me to finally arrive here, but that will take, I think, 1 more week or something like that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment or rate or whatever you want to do, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.